We are live stream. Welcome everyone to another strange Wushu live stream of old Wushu videos. So tonight I'm sharing video from the 1997 USA Wushu team trials. This was in Atlanta, Georgia, probably like July of 1997. And this team trials decided the team that would go to the World Wushu Championships in Rome, Italy, later that year. Okay, as always, if you have questions or comments, put those down on the Facebook live stream. If I see your question, I will try my best to answer it. And let's get into it. Let's see. Okay. We're going to start with day one of women's empty hand. I'm going to turn the volume down here. So you notice I said that day one. So 97 and in 99, those were 2-day team trials, with the first day being the qualifier and then the second day being the finals. So on the first day, all competitors competed with up to 3 of their forms: empty hand, short weapon, and long weapon. And then competitors qualified for the second day. And on the second day, you had, if you qualified, you had to do all 3 of your forms again. I should note this, we were watching Anita Lopez from Ome Wushu in Virginia. Anita makes it this year. Yeah, this is 97. I'm going to keep the volume down on the video just because you're going to hear me cheering a lot. And God, I cannot stand hearing my own voice on videos. Okay. Should also note is 1997, so that means everyone is competing with compulsory forms. Everyone. There are no individual forms for international competition. This is Patty Sun, I think was her last name. Sun? Patty Sun. Who did she practice with? I think she was from the East Coast or from Texas. You know what? She might have been with a traditional school, something like a Jingwu school. Ooh, I'm totally forgetting. Might have been Jimmy Wong's student. I don't remember. It's Anthony Go standing behind the head judges table. The head judges, that is Liu Yu, formerly of the Jiangsu Wushu team. Excellent Wushu and taichi instructor based out of San Luis Obispo in Central California. The other head judges, it's Bryant Fong from San Francisco, and it was also Eric Chen from the National Wushu Training Center in Southern California. What's up, Luciano? And Matthew Lee. Matt has a question. Do you feel qualifiers improve or impede the team trial selection process? I am a big fan of qualifiers. I don't know if I would ever want to go back to this exact format, but I think that qualifiers are good in that when you get to the finals, you know exactly who you're looking at. You're looking at every competitor basically on the finals day should be good enough to represent the United States in international competition, and it was nice to have that separation. This particular format was pretty rough on the competitors. You had to do 3 forms on the first day, and then if you qualify, you had to do all 3 forms the second day, which was tough. It was not easy. I do think there should be some sort of qualifier, though. Maybe not this format. This is Tina Fu. At this time, she is training with USW Zhang Guifeng and Christopher Pei's student. Later, maybe just a couple years later, Tina moves out to California, which is where I was living at the time. and she started training with us at the Pacific Wushu with coaches Philip Wong and Zhang Hongmei, who are my longtime coaches in California. And what's up, Dan A from Mexico, joining us again. Thank you for being here. I'm just going to start talking. I remember this floor being incredibly hard. So this is just like a hotel convention center kind of thing. It was not a very big hotel. I think it was in downtown Atlanta. This is the only time I've ever been to Atlanta, 1997. This carpet was so hard. It's basically just a concrete slab with a very, very thin carpet on top. I even hesitate to call it carpet. Like, it's not wushu carpet. It was a very, very hard floor, very thin covering. I do not remember this woman's name. Part of me wants to say she trained with Nick Graysonen, but I cannot confirm that. I do not remember her name. I think she may have also competed at the 1999 team trials. That's a guess. First compulsory long fist, obviously. Well, not obviously. I'm getting ahead of myself. The first compulsory set of international compulsories were based off of individual Chinese champion competitors' individual forms. And this is the Changshan compulsory, was modeled off of the individual competition form from Yuan Yuanqing. Very famous, kind of the Michael Jordan of Wushu. This is Clara Shen, also from Ome Wushu. Clara did make the team this year, 97. Clara, very strong competitor, strong staff form, very strong staff form, and pretty good jumper. This is 1997. This is a very, very different world of Wushu than what you see today in competition. Oh, Sarah Gellhorn. What's up, Sarah? Nestor Linton. Linton. That name sounds so familiar. Nestor Linton. Thank you for sharing that. That was the female competitor from just a couple performances ago. What was I saying about Clara? Strong competitor. And she did train with Nick Grayson. Aha! I had it right. I had it right. Something in my head, I was like, I think she was Nick's student. All right, my memory is holding up here pretty well. Luch says he remembers Clara being a fine piano player. Did I know that Clara played piano? I think I knew that. I don't think I've ever heard her play. Clara just kind of like vanished off the face of the Wushu planet after 99. She was on the team in 99 for Hong Kong. I was also on the team in 99, and then she like went to college and started her own life. And I even think I ran into Anita Lopez at a competition and asked her, hey, what happened to Clara? And even Anita had been like, I don't know what happened to Clara. And then I believe through the Wushu grapevine at some point, I think maybe Nathan Tong had gotten in contact with her somehow. This is Mei Su. Top US competitor, super strong, incredible basics, clean technique, very smooth movements. Mei was on the team multiple years. 97, she made the team. In 99, she competed in Hong Kong, took bronze medal in spear, and Mei, I think, also qualified for what, 93 Malaysia, and then maybe she didn't compete. That was before my time, but I think I have that story right. So you hear some people saying like JIAYO or like push it or go for it. People still do this today, but back then, basically you had somebody on the side that's timing you. and you're letting them know that they've made their minimum time, which is 1 minute and 20 seconds. So each school kind of had their code. Maybe not, it's not even just a code. People just literally say like, keep going. But you always had somebody on the side timing your form to let you know if you were under time, if you're over time. And I think, do I remember this correctly? I think Ome Wushu used Spanish. And that might have been because of Anita. But they said something. What did they say? I forget. This is weird memories coming back to me. I think they said something in Spanish. Felicia C. competing from California. This is 97, so she's competing at NWTC, which is where I was practicing as well. So I should rewind. This is my very first U.S. team trials. This is in 1997. I started Wushu in 1994. So I had not been practicing Wushu for very long before I went to team trials. And I knew at the time that I was probably not really ready to compete at a team trials, but 97, I was finishing college and I was starting my life. I thought I had a job lined up, which that's another story that fell through. But like as a gift to myself, I was like, I'm going to go to U.S. team trials. I'm just going to go there, see how I do, test myself. I know I'm not ready, but you know, this is my gift to myself. I ended up doing terribly this weekend. I remember this is probably one of my worst competitions ever. I'll talk more about that later. Competitor right now, this is Ann Su. Ann Su. Competitor 2 people ago was Mei Su. They are sisters, both very good friends of mine. I trained with both of them for many years. Excellent competitors and very, very inspirational Wushu athletes to train alongside of. They are both in Boulder, Colorado now, or Boulder, Denver area. Anne continues to do movement. She does Ito Portal style movement, if you're familiar with that. Ito Portal got pretty big as one of the trainers for, totally forgetting his name, UFC fighter, Conor McGregor. Anne is still in great shape. I hate the word still, but she's in great shape. Still means like, oh, you wouldn't be in shape. No, she's still in great shape. She can do a handstand. Ooh, oh, what is her name? I do not remember, but I remember her being fast. Yeah, fast, loud slaps. I do not remember her name. Oh, that's Nick Grayson over there on the side. With the notepad and the tie, positive that Coach Grayson was keeping track of scores and deductions. Who are the corner judges? I think them gentlemen in the back corner there. I think that's Wang Zhentian, former Jiangsu Wushu team member and instructor in Southern California. I do not know who that guy is in the corner. I think on this near corner over to the right, I think that is Helen Wu, who is a daughter of Madame Wang Zhurong, who is the daughter of Wang Ziping. That's a very, very famous family of Wushu practitioners. I think Grace Wu was in Kansas? Is that right? Something like that. Got a little bobble there. Women's Nanjun, very small division. This is Kelly Cramp. What do I remember about Kelly Cramp? Not much. I saw her compete at team trials this year, and then I think in '99, I think maybe I saw her at a WKF Nationals, maybe in Baltimore. Very few female Nanjun competitors during this era. Kelly was one of the very few. The other female competitor here, I believe, is going to be Michelle Boutin. I just remember Kelly Cramp because of her hair. I'm saying that as a joke, but it is true. She had bangs, and then she had this really long straight hair in the back. And if I remember correctly, I think her mother had like a very similar haircut, and you would just see them walking down the hallway of the hotel. You're like, there's Kelly Cramp. There's Kelly Cramp's mother. Also interesting to note, and we'll see it later, or not see it later, is that this is a 97. So there was no Nandao and no Nangun. So for Southern style competitors, you did not have a Southern weapon to compete at team trials and at Worlds. The first year that Nandao and Nangun become competitive events is the next Worlds, which is in 1999. And this is Michelle Boutin, was big on the NASCA circuit and studied with Clarence Burris at CMAI in Virginia. Sarah Gellhorn, Grace Wu was in Kansas. Okay, I thought she was in Kansas. Yes, and she was a judge in 99. I remember that. 99 team trials in Houston, Texas. Also, the only time I've been to Houston. This is the first and only time I was in Atlanta, Georgia. The next team trials, first and only time I've been to Houston, Texas. I think Michelle is the last competitor in this group. So, you know, if you're a non-competitor, most people would do broadsword and staff. I think that's what both Michelle and Kelly Cramp competed with for their short and long weapons. Well, while Sarah's here, Sarah, did you compete at this team trials? I want to say I thought you did, but I don't think I have a video of you. Tiffany Reyes. Hi, Tiffany. Thank you for joining. And hello, everyone. Momo says, women don't wear the sleeveless anymore. Back then, it was pretty big. Looked good. It was like the V-neck, short sleeve. Oh, we are done with that video. Should we stick with day 1 or should we go to day 2? Let's do some men's. Let's see some men's competition here. Let's go with maybe men's broadsword. Yeah, let's do men's broadsword. All right. Okay. Well, this is Richard Brannon, everyone. If you were doing wushu or Chinese martial arts or any martial arts in the 90s, you knew who Richard Brannon was. Not only was he a top NASCA competitor, NASCA being the North American Sport Karate Association, which kind of the biggest stage for martial arts in the US at that time. Richard Brannon was top competitor there. He was also on a TV show called WMAC Masters, and his character was named Yin Yang Man. Yin Yang Man. Sarah, you competed at 99. Okay. Okay. Richard Brannon, such a nice guy. Unfortunately, sadly, he passed away from cancer. I want to say this was late 2000s. I don't remember exactly which year. Very sad, huge loss to the martial arts community. He ran a school called Studio Kicks in Palo Alto, California. I have a story about Richard Brannon I'm going to tell here. So I was training at this time in Southern California at the National Wushu Training Center. And Richard Brannon had already established himself as a competitor, had really nothing else to prove to anyone, but he wanted to try out for the US Wushu team. And he had learned Wushu as a sports karate guy, kind of on his own, super strong competitor, but he realized that he needed details to try out for the US team. So he went to NWTC, and because NWTC had a very strict curriculum, they started him off as a white belt, even though he probably had easily 10 or 15 years of martial arts training experience at that time. But he did it. He went through NWTC's curriculum, cleaned up his wushu technique, cleaned up his compulsories, had the pleasure of training with him in preparation for this competition. And I just remember that being such a great lesson, that you should never feel like you are overqualified. You should never feel afraid of starting from zero and like relearning your basics. And I really respected him for that. Incredible competitor. This right now is my buddy Shengli Huang, Knoxville, Tennessee. Shengli has lived all over the place, but I'm pretty sure during this era he was in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is not a hotbed of wushu. But he trained here and there. He would like drive to train with Coach Nick Grayson. And then Shengli and I became good friends. Many years later, he visited me when I was living and training in Beijing. He worked on a documentary about wushu around the world. I have some of that footage. This is Justin Ma, who did not make the US team this year, but he would go on to make the US team, I think, in 2001 and maybe 2003, maybe 05, 2001 and 2003, I believe. But at this time, so later when he made the team, he was training at Ome Wushu with Coach Lu Shaolin. At this time, he's training at the US Wushu Academy with Zhang Weifeng and Christopher Pei. Hi, Chica Fosa. Thank you for joining. Tiffany Reyes, yes, whoa. So a little history of wushu in the greater DC, Northern Virginia area. There are lots of schools there, lots of cross-pollination, lots of students who would start at one school, move to another school, move back to another school. Justin Ma is one of those athletes. You can hear them saying JIAYO, JIAYO, because he's under time. He's under time. So that is their code. Not really a code, right? Because it's pretty clear what's going on. Coach and or teammate warning them that they're under time. This is Joe Scarcella, Brooklyn, New York. Joe, old friend. Is he coming off of a knee injury here? I think he might be. I think Joe injured his knee twice, and I believe it was an ACL tear. One was in competition, and I think that was in San Francisco, but I can't remember if that was before or after this tournament. If his knee is injured here, man, he's looking great, looking super strong. Joe trained with Sifu Edward Aguirre in New York City. I think this is the competition that I meet Joe for the first time, and then I went out to New York for work and hung out with him, and then he came out to California to hang out, and then he and his girlfriend, now wife Lily, moved out to California and trained with us at Pacific Wushu for many years. Good old teammate. I'll never forget when Joe came to visit me in Southern California, and we were driving around, and he was like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "What, Joe?" He's like, "There's palm trees. It's just like Chips from the TV show." Such a good story. Yes, Tiffany, Richard Brannon at NWTC, man. What like inspirational dude and such a nice guy. This is the legendary Javon Holmes. Legendary because Javon was part of like the first or second wave of wushu athletes in the US. Like in the 80s, people like him and Philip Wong, Kenny Perez, these are people that, you know, got interested in this martial art that was still very young worldwide. I mean, it's still relatively as young as a competitive sport, even in China, in mainland China. And these were Americans that traveled on their own, that trained themselves in parks. Oh, and his broadsword broke. Did everybody see that? Last move, broadsword breaks. I think he comes back and does it again. Right, so if your weapon breaks in competition, you have the choice. You can just take the deduction, or you can do the form again, but with a 1-point deduction. Most people will not do the form again, but Javon comes back and does the whole form again. This is Eric Louie. Eric Louie started Wushu UCLA with NWTC. Then at this point, he is in Arizona, training with Andrew Hartuno, Phoenix, Arizona. He was Eric was out there, I think, for grad school. I think that's correct, and trained primarily with Andrew, maybe with Lee Jinhong in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm calling these people by their first names. I feel so bad. Sifu Andrew Hartuno, Sifu Andrew Ho, and Sifu Lee Jinhong. My apologies. Oh, and check, I never noticed this before. He is rocking the Bruin UCLA colors on his broadsword flags. College pride. No, Wushu school pride, college pride. Oh, Sarah, yes. Javon had ups. Dude, Javon, oh, here he's doing his form again. This is so he did the form once, and his sword broke, and you know they give you the choice. Do you want to do it again? And Javon goes out and does it again. Look at how much energy this guy has. Javon was also quite a talker. I think I remember at this competition, some people when they were warming up on the side were asking like, "Dude, how do you condition? Like, how do you stay in good shape?" And he says he would go to the basketball court, do a whole form, walk around the basketball court once, and do his whole form again. And he'd just keep doing that over and over and over. And man, I believe it. I think Javon may have stretched his stories a bit, but that part I believe. Man, he was in good shape. He just did his whole form again. Okay, that was men's broadsword. Should we go to day 2? Maybe we'll go to day 2. We'll go to day 2. Oh, we'll start. I think I do a little like an intro here, which is ridiculous. Yeah, here we go. Here's my commentary from 1997. That's Sheng Li walking by the camera there. Clara Shen warming up. Debbie Chen in the background. Kelly Cramp also. That's May and Anne. And then the event starts. Matthew Lee says he thinks he recalls Mark Moran may have mentioned that in his blog about Javon, about Javon's conditioning. I think Javon also claimed that he had 10 seconds of airtime. I'm not joking. I think the story that I've heard from people was that he would do a jump front kick and claim that he had 10 seconds of airtime. That's why I say that he stretched his stories a little bit. So if I remember correctly, I don't know. My memory, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I think I remember there being a minor controversy about how Anita and Clara taped their swords. Because if you notice, she's got tape over the guard, which is over the finger. And I think there was also something about like you should have gotten deducted if your finger was over the tip, even though like, okay, now the rules are different, right? Now the rules clearly state that your finger can't be over the guard. But back then, I don't think it was clearly written in the rules, but people just said, oh, don't do that or else you get deducted. So I remember when I learned straight sword, they were like, don't put your finger over the guard. And I'm like, it's so much easier to like whip the sword if your finger's over the guard. They're like, yeah, but you'll get deducted. I think that was not a controversy. Sarah's got a funny story here. Oh man, Eric Louie, boom, in the room, just competed. Nice one, Eric. Sarah's story, Clara's long fist. Yeah. So Sarah made a comment about Clara doing a jump inside into horse stance. Yeah, she was one of the few female competitors back then that could do jump inside and land in horse stance. Chica Fosa, thank you for joining. Glad you enjoyed the old videos. This is Felicia C. Competing in straight sword. Eric Louie, F me. Come on, Eric. This is all in fun. I'll edit you out of the video if you want me to. But this is historical, man. This is, you know, important stuff. And that is Lu Xiaoling in the corner, right? Corner judge. Deborah Chen. Debbie Chen from NWTC, formerly married to Eric Chen, former head instructor at NWTC. I believe all of their schools' physical locations have closed now. Back then, it was the main school in Huntington Beach. Great facility. Great facility. Good memories training there. Summer of 96, summer of 97. And then I would go down and visit. A bunch of us from the Bay Area would drive down to hang out with the Beijing Wushu team when they would come to train and do tours of the US. Good times, man. A lot of those Beijing Wushu team members at the time, you know, were professional Wushu athletes in China, and so many of them eventually immigrated to the US. And I'm happy to say, continue to stay in contact with, good friends. I can't remember if at this trials what the rules were, because now that I'm watching this video, I don't think Debbie did long fist. I think she competed or tried out with just straight sword and spear, I think. Mei Su. Actually, it was Mei who taught me this form. I had learned straight sword poorly in China, some basics and kind of basic intermediate form, and then it was Mei who taught me this form. I think when I was visiting San Luis Obispo, where Liu Yu, one of the head judges, had her school, but also Mei and Anne's mother had moved to San Luis Obispo, so they would visit. And I think I stopped by because San Luis Obispo was between Southern California and San Francisco. And when I would drive back and forth, and actually the University of Oregon as well, when I was still in college. And I would stop there to train. Man, that was a long time ago. What I like about watching these old videos is that you can watch people doing these compulsory forms from that era. Now, when you see people do these compulsory forms, it tends to be younger competitors in the age group that would use this at the Junior World Wushu Championships. But when you see current athletes and younger athletes do these forms now, they do it completely differently. They do it completely differently. They're so generationally removed from this era when these forms were created, that they just don't perform them with the same feeling. The tempo is different. They change certain movements to fit the current rules. Thanks, Tiffany. I'm glad you can join us. Tiffany, you're like, some people would call Tiffany Reyes old school, but I know that Tiffany Reyes is not old school because I'm old school. And I remember when Tiffany was new school. Clara Shen. Clara, I think her strongest event, I think, is staff. It was where her strength came out. And like, you know, with that jump inside, loud swings, loud smashes. In fact, now that I share that story about Tiffany Reyes, Tiffany, you and I remember your first Wushu competition. Or at least I think it was your first Wushu competition, which was collegiates in Oregon. I think that's correct. And Tiffany had gotten the wrong medal. And at some point in the competition, she came up to me asking me, like, oh, hello, judge. I have the wrong medal. And I was like, get out of my face. Like, I'm busy. I will help you out in just a second. I got more important things to do. I think that was my first interaction with Tiffany Reyes. I'm sorry, Tiffany. This is all Patty Sun. Patty Sun, Patty Sun. Her name, something like that. God, can anybody help me out here? Does anybody remember who she trained with? I thought it was maybe Jimmy Wong or a Jingwu school. Tiffany confirming the story. All right. All right. My memory sometimes serves me properly. I am saying something in the background. I'm gonna turn that volume down. I cannot stand hearing my voice. I think I'm saying it in the background. Is that Patty Sun? So, you know, interesting to see her style and flavor coming from a traditional background, whereas the other competitors are pretty much straight Wushu. Kelly Cramp, once again, Nanshun competitor, competing in broadsword. I don't remember how old Kelly is here, but man, she couldn't have been older than 16. She may have been younger here. Oh, I'm sorry, Tiffany. Yes. I had no time for you, Tiffany. I'm sorry. That was before we were friends. I was just a mean judge at a competition. I think that might be Kelly Cramp's mom back there with the short hair, similar hairstyle, bangs. I think that's her mom. I'm speaking about these people as if we were friends. I don't know. I didn't know Kelly Cramp. Maybe that was me cheering her on. I had never really met her. But that's like what Wushu's about, right? Wushu competitors support each other, cheering each other on. Javon Holmes back there crossing his arms like, what's going on? Waiting for his turn to do his broadsword again. Oh, this is day 2. I mean, he's got to do his form again. And Sue, one of the best empty stances ever of all time. No matter what happened in Anne's form, I guarantee you she will nail the empty stance at the end. Eric saying we were talking crap. I don't know. Were we talking crap? I think there were a few times I've caught myself on watching old videos like this. I'm like, oh my God, did I say that? Shouldn't have said that about that person. I think there's also a video I've like shared with people. Luis Diaz, not too long ago. I told him, hey man, I got this old video of you competing. and I'll happy to send it to you. But I just want to let you know that there's a lot of shit talking on the video. I gave it to him anyway. Lewis was cool about it and thankful that there was video at all. But I just had to warn him, like, well, we're talking some shit about you. Okay, will she nail this empty stance? Boom, boom. You know, a lot of Wushu athletes will focus on big moves, right? They'll focus on their non-do. They want a loud slap. They want this fancy, twisty thing that they learn in a Chinese TikTok video. And let me tell you, man, the things that really stand out are things like that. A super solid stance that just no one can say shit about. And if that's your last move, it just makes you stand out. It just makes you stand out as a competitor. Forget all the fancy, jumpy, turny shit. Just get some solid stances. Michelle Boutin, non-competitor from before black, cut off sleeves, now competing in broadsword. As I said before, there was no Nandao. Nandao was not an event. Nangun was not an event. So Southern competitors had to choose either straight sword, broadsword, staff, or spear. Most chose broadsword staff. Also note, huge flags. Look at those broadsword flags. The broadsword flags are bigger than the broadsword, and that's the way it should be. I don't like seeing these rinky-dinky tissue paper handkerchief broadsword flags. It's bullshit. Get yourself some real broadsword flags. Huge. Okay. As I finish that rant, we have finished that video. We'll do maybe, what else should we watch here? Did we watch any? Oh, here we go. Men's Changshan from day 2. This should be good. Day 2, men's long fist. Woo! Hot slaps. Nice. Tom Dorney, student of Nick Grayson. Boom! Big outside. Huge outside. Tom, great competitor. Super tall. Like, way too tall for Wushu. I consider myself to be too tall for Wushu. I'm about 5'11". Tom Dorney had to have been like 6'2", maybe 6'3". Super tall, long limbs, and man, look, the guy is moving like nobody's business. I'm telling you, to be this tall and do Wushu that looks like this, that, God, I mean, I never trained with him, but I've got to imagine that he just trained his ass off. And knowing if he trained with Coach Grayson, and I'm sure Coach Grayson put him through the ringer. Yeah, man. I mean, nice. But that jump outside, boom. Strong competitor, man. What a great performance. Unfortunately, he did not make it this year. I don't think he ever made the U.S. team. He was an alternate this year, and I believe he traveled to go to the World Wushu Championships in Rome, but he did not have the opportunity to compete. And I think that's a shame. What a super strong competitor. This is Matt Nguyen. He is one of many competitors at this tournament from Southern California Wushu Association, aka Squaw, aka Little Saigon Wushu team. These are all students of Chris Ho, who had a school in Southern California in a neighborhood that was predominantly Southeast Asian, predominantly Vietnamese American, and it just was a powerhouse school. Squaw created so many amazing wushu competitors. Just top male and female competitors. Incredible school. I did get an opportunity to train with them a few times, and just like the vibe in that school was through the roof. Just everybody's super encouraging of each other. Everybody's very respectful to Sifu Chris Ho, and just trains so hard. I loved visiting Squaw. I think that's Hoichi in the back in the green dress. Is that her? Maybe? Couldn't tell. Javon Holmes back again with Nanshan. Not a fan of that yell, Javon, but strong competitor. I think Javon gets deducted in one of his events on the second day. I can't remember. So I think Javon had just recently switched to Nanshan before this competition. I don't think I'd ever seen him do Nanshan before this weekend. Primarily knew him from Changshan and his monkey staff. Monkey staff, double broadsword, staff. Dude, Javon was just an incredible competitor. Like, I don't like his flavor or feeling here, but like, look how sharp that is. Just sharp and clean. And remember, this is the first Nanshan compulsory. By this time, in the fourth section, you are just beat. And he's just running it. That is some good endurance. Missed the yell. I think that might be the thing. I think, if I remember correctly, this is Joe Scarcella. Yeah, we're talking shit. I'm just like, what do you think about that, Joe? And we're just talking so much crap in the background. Who is in the background there? Yeah, and then the judges are talking. That's Eric Chen on the right, Sifu Bryant Fong. I keep Sifu Eric Chen, Sifu Bryant Fong, and Sifu Liu Yu at the head judges table discussing. Is that a deduction for missing a yell? I think it is a deduction. You've missed a compulsory movement. .23. I don't know if there was a deduction or not. Still a fine score. Luis Diaz. Well, this is the first time we've seen Luis. Luis Diaz from Ome Wushu. Luis, what a character. What a character. One amazing competitor, amazing Wushu athlete. Continues to train traditional East Coast. Luis, just a powerhouse competitor. He just goes for it. I believe he beats Javon in this division, and he deserves it. Luis just had that fire. He had that passion, that expression. What a great competitor Luis was. And so funny. Luis was probably one of the funniest guys to hang out with after the competition. If there was an after party or if people were hanging out in someone's hotel room, Luis was just a blast. So you can tell like he's tired, but Luis just like puts on his poker face and just like goes for it. He just like pushes harder. There's other people in the background whose names I'm totally forgetting. There was that guy's name, Shane. I'm a taichi person. We're not going to watch all this, but I do want to tell a story. This is Ken Glenn, who was super nice guy, trained with Liu Yu in San Luis Obispo, great friend. Ken is the competitor that I think I will credit the most with pushing me to be a better Wushu and Taichi competitor. Whenever we would compete against each other, maybe like 4 or 5 times a year, because we go to the same tournaments, we'd compete in the same events. And every time it would be like, in the 24, he'd take first, I'd take second. Then in the 42, I'd take first, he'd take second. Then it was like 32 sword, he'd take first, I'd take second. 42 sword, I'd take first. And it was just that way the entire time we competed against each other. And it was a very friendly rivalry. And I think that if Ken had not been such a good competitor and also such a nice guy, I'm positive I would not have pushed myself to be the competitor that I became. So I remember a long time ago reading some saying about like your competitor is also your best friend, because they are the one that like inspires you to become stronger yourself. And I think that about Ken. Really respect him as a martial artist and as a competitor, and man, he just really pushed me to be better myself. Okay, that's the last competitor there. Oh well, wait, what's after Ken? No, it is just Ken. Okay, we're gonna finish it. Let's watch one more video, then we'll call it a night. Women's Daoshu. What should we watch here? Oh, do some spear. I haven't done spear. Deborah Chen competing with the spear compulsory. Yeah, like I said, I don't think she competed in long fist. So I wonder what the rules were this year. Maybe it was like combined 2 events. I don't know. I don't remember. Good spear technique. Good spear technique. I mean, Debbie had excellent access to resources, very technical, and had access to an amazing facility at NWTC. And to her credit, very good Wushu athlete. I was like complimenting her, but like saying all these other reasons why she was good. But what I should have just said was Debbie Chen was a really talented Wushu athlete and solid Wushu competitor. That's what I should have said. I apologize. Good performance. Super good performance. Mei Su. I think Mei also taught me this form. Actually, maybe Mei taught me this form and not the straight sword, or maybe she taught me both. No, she taught me this form. She taught me this form. Smooth. Great spear performance. I mean, this is what, 2 years before she becomes a bronze medalist in this event at the World Champs. This section of this form was always a killer. Lots of times at Wushu competitions, if somebody messed up on that section, and there were a lot of places to mess up, so many releases behind the back, over the shoulder, if one competitor messed up, it was like a domino effect. Everybody in that event like would mess up, because it's like you're planting the mental seed of like, oh no, they messed up, don't you mess up, and then it just cascaded. Great performance by Mei. Anita Lopez. Interesting that she starts facing that direction. Feel like that was the wrong direction. First time I saw Anita Lopez compete was earlier this year. No, the year before. This is 2017 trials. First time I saw Anita Lopez was at the 1996 USA WKF Nationals. I think Lily Lau was hosting, and it was at San Francisco State University. And it was women's long fist. I remember seeing Anita for the first time, and I was like, wow, who's that? First time I felt like I saw a female competitor in the US who really like had that stage presence of like those eyes when they walk out on the floor, of like owning it. And I remember being super impressed just by her presence. That was a year before this. A little less than a year before this. Sarah, spear was the toughest compulsory. I agree with you. I think this form was a difficult form. It was a risky form. Like I said, just from that one section, you had so many opportunities to like mess up. And plenty of competitors did. This was a tough form. Also a tough form to make look really strong. I know I struggled with this form. This is not, you know, like I said before, all the first compulsories are based off of a Chinese competitor, and this was a woman's form. And I just remember thinking, like, when I learned it, and I've learned it from a female athlete, I felt like I couldn't own the form. Not because it was a woman's form, just because like it didn't fit my body type. And I was like, I just can't make this form look good. And I gave the excuse because I'm too tall and skinny. And then Tri Nguyen, also from Southern California Wushu Association, just would murder this form. And then I'm like, well, I can't use that excuse anymore. Because Tri was also like same height as me, similar build, maybe a little bit bigger than me. I'm like, well, no, I guess it's just me, Brandon. I can't make the form look good. It's not because I'm tall and skinny. Patty Sun again. And women's staff. And there's Eric Louie in the background. I don't know if you can tell, like, but as I said before, this is like day 2 of competition. Competitors are tired. Like everyone's pushing it, everyone's giving it everything they've got, but you can just feel it. Like people are tired. Like Anne is a super solid competitor, but remember, she's already done 3 whole forms the day before, and this is probably her 3rd form of the day. Yeah, because it was long weapons. This is probably her third form of day 2. Is asking a lot from competitors. I did not qualify for the 2nd day of this competition. I did so bad. I think I let go of my spear like 4 or 5 times during the form, and in taichi I was under time, meaning I was going too fast. So I didn't qualify for the 2nd day. Kelly Cramp, back again. Javon Holmes hanging out on the sidelines. I think that was Martha Burr that walked by in the background. Can anybody confirm that? I think that was Martha. Martha Burr, formerly of Kung Fu Wushu magazine, now communications director for the IWF. I don't know if that's her title. She's in communications with the IWF. It's so funny. You can see behind Kelly against the wall. Those are like people's makeshift long weapons, traveling devices to get your weapons onto airplanes and fly across the country with them. Yes, Tiffany, old school. Back in the day, you had to qualify for your second day. That was the way it was in 97 and 99. And then I think they changed it in 2001. But 97 and 99, you had to qualify. Clara Shen. Did she miss a cut there? Slam the ground. Shouldn't have been like cut, turn, then the Yuan Gun. Did she miss a move? Am I tripping out? Am I getting my compulsories mixed up? Maybe. Feels like she missed a move there. Does she nail the jump inside? Not her best, but not bad. Not bad. Tom Brocht in the background. I believe that's Tom Brocht. Goes Kung Fu. Luis Diaz also in the back. You can just see it. You can tell Clara's getting tired. No, and I'm not like, I'm not like critiquing or saying, oh, she's getting tired. Just like, these were long weekends. This is the second day on their third event. People are just gassed. A few more competitors, then we're going to wrap this up. We've been doing this for a little over an hour. Michelle Boutin, CMAI, student of Clarence Burris, NASCA champion. It's really bugging me that I don't know who that judge is in the back right corner. I remember seeing him at Wushu competitions. I do not know who he is. All right. Staff was a tricky form because of this last run back. Because you were supposed to do 2 steps, jump, circle the staff, but a lot of people would do a skip. They would do like a running skip and then into 2-step. That was a deduction if you did it that way. Okay. Ooh, that's it. All right. That concludes today's live stream of old Wushu videos. Thanks for joining. Thanks for everybody who commented and asked questions. Tiffany, Sarah, Eric. Who else was in here? Oh, there were a lot of comments that I missed. Sorry, guys. Chica Fosa. Matthew Lee. If you have comments, leave them. If you like this video, like it, share it with your friends, and if you want to see me doing more videos like this, let me know. I don't know. I have fun doing this, but I don't know if people actually want to watch me talking about Wushu videos. Anyhow, this is Brandon Sugiyama signing off. Thanks for coming, and see you in the next video.